House Speaker McCarthy has decided to launch an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. Okay, that's been news everywhere. There's a legal aspect to that announcement that is very interesting, really kind of two legal aspects. So first, let's sort of set up the facts, set up the scenario. This is a different this is a little bit different from previous impeachment inquiries in the modern era. So in 1998, there was an impeachment inquiry only after the Starr report came out. The Starr report came out after sort of Monica Lewinsky's blue dress was tested, and there was DNA evidence just that established beyond any real viable doubt that Bill Clinton had lied. He'd lied under oath. He'd had an affair with an intern. And so the impeachment inquiry began after this information came out. Fast forward to 2019, next impeachment inquiry. There were a number of reports piling in at that point in 2019, in moving into September 2019, that Trump had exerted pressure on President Zelensky of Ukraine to launch an investigation of Joe Biden and the Biden family, Hunter Biden mainly, and Joe Biden and the Biden family. And this was, there was a Wall Street Journal report saying that Trump had repeatedly pressed Zelensky. This was when and then Trump had admitted that he had withheld aid from Ukraine for a while. And then right after Pelosi announces the impeachment inquiry, the White House releases the rough transcript of the call with Zelensky, and it shows the quid pro quo, or at least the proposed quid pro quo. Then in 2021, impeachment inquiry number two for Trump, number three in our list of examples after January 6th. Now, what's different about now? What's different about now is you don't have any of the evidence like we had before the impeachment inquiries began in the previous circumstances. And that's actually legally relevant, David, in an interesting way, because what House Republicans are saying is that we actually need the impeachment inquiry to continue our investigation. So there's a pre-existing investigation about Hunter Biden and the Biden family's business dealings abroad and Joe Biden's role in that. And look, there's a lot of sleaze that's been uncovered. A lot of sleaze, no question about it. But there has not been any direct evidence of Joe Biden engaging in any criminal wrongdoing, certainly. And there hasn't been any direct evidence that Joe Biden has profited from his family's dealings overseas. There has been evidence that Joe Biden has lied about the nature of Hunter Biden's business dealings, but there's not evidence that he has received benefit from them. And so the House argument is, and David, very interested in your response to this, essentially like to continue our investigation diligently, we have to kind of re-hat it. We have to move it from sort of legislative oversight or legislative style inquiries, which give us a certain degree of subpoena power, to an impeachment inquiry, which gives us a greater degree of subpoena power. And then now we'll be able to reach documents and reach evidence that we were not able to reach before. So this is a necessary move, they would argue, to allow us to have the legal authority to gain additional information. And that's sort of the basis for it. It's not that they have discovered the blue dress or that there's the rough transcript of the call or that there's the January 6th riot. It's that stuff might be out there. And the only way we can discover it is through an impeachment inquiry, is essentially their argument that the impeachment inquiry is necessary to even see if there is anything impeachable. And there are thresholds, but you just can't do that. There have to be threshold showings that you have to reach before you can unlock certain kinds of investigatory powers. And the interesting analogy here is, because impeachment is a political process, it is not a legal process. Is there a threshold kind of issue that needs to be crossed before you can unlock that larger power? And the Trump DOJ argued, in fact, yes. So it has a 2020 legal opinion that says, okay, wait a minute, this is the Trump era DOJ. You cannot actually unlock these larger impeachment inquiry powers, including that more expanded subpoena power, unless the House has voted to launch the impeachment inquiry. In other words, it's not that there's an evidentiary threshold showing. That's much more sort of a political argument. What I talked about was, where's the dress? Where's the transcript of the call, et cetera? That it's actually the political process has to work in a particular way to unlock the power. And that particular way is the House has to vote to launch the inquiry. It has to be an action of the House and not just an action of the Speaker of the House. And this was relevant because in the 2019 impeachment inquiry, Nancy Pelosi launched it unilaterally. So a lot of people who are saying, McCarthy, you don't have the power to launch this unilaterally. Well, Pelosi did. Okay, so on September 24th, she launched the impeachment inquiry unilaterally. But in October, the next month, the full House voted on it. But there was a period of time, there were weeks where the House was exercising its impeachment inquiry, was engaging in its impeachment inquiry without the larger House voting. And so what the Trump DOJ said is, as a matter of law, you cannot unlock this expanded power without a House vote. I'm very persuaded by that opinion. I have to say, David, I'm very persuaded by that opinion, because if you go and you look at if you're looking at the language, the Constitution vests the sole power of impeachment in the House of Representatives. And this is what the Trump DOJ said. For precisely that reason, the House itself must authorize an impeachment inquiry, as it has done in virtually every prior impeachment investigation in our nation's history, including everyone involving a president. So the argument there was, wait a minute, these subpoenas issued under the impeachment inquiry prior to the vote or without a vote, are they enforceable? Are they enforceable? And that's going to be a key question unless McCarthy goes to the full House. And right now, the informed speculation is that he doesn't have the votes. So the real question is, does his unilateral announcement unlock the power that he thinks it unlocks?